Seltzer Time, meatballs!
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Seltzer Time podcast. It's your boy Ricky, aka Dick Shuck, aka the man behind the can at Seltzer Time Official. I have lemon seltzer all over everything now. Here is always my conversation accomplice, the man with the 100 bout, Worcester, Travis.
What is cracking, Fizzle Fiends? Welcome back to another episode of the Seltzer Time podcast. And as always, we are so glad you're with us. Lemon scented things are better. That's just hands down.
Sometimes it's all over the towel, it's all over my shorts, my notebook. But what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? This week on the show, we are talking to music producer iNFMS about making music and about music in general. But before we get there, you know what we have to do. Hey, Ricky, how was the week?
Hey, my week was good, man. It was very, very busy. Every week is now busy somehow. Went from not being busy at all to wildly busy. No, it's good, man. Just getting more things checked off the to-do list, doing the whole going back to work full-time thing, kind of like trying to come up with some kind of a schedule for that. Just living the dream. The Bruins are in the second round of the playoffs. They won game one last night. It was beautiful. The Celtics knocked out the Sixers. So they're on to the second round of playoffs. It's been good.
It's been good things all around.
Yeah, can't complain. How are you? How was your week?
It was good. I've been working like crazy like you. It just feels like, I don't know, I think time just flies by. I did manage to get a couple nights of Sea of Thieves, which is a video game all about pirating with my buddy Nate down in Connecticut. It's
nice.
Cool to kind of connect once or twice a week and just kind of screw around. Sarah and I went kayaking out in Webster Lake on Saturday. My God, was it perfect. It was such a perfect day for it. I mean, like there were tons of people out there with boats. There was one dickhead on a wave runner that kind of like pinned us against the shoreline with his wake.
Ugh.
Not that bad. Yeah. But we basically just stayed to the outside of Lake Chungamungabungagog. And it was fun. It was real fun.
Nice.
And then
we used to go out there on like jet skis. When we were younger, my buddy had one, or he had two. So we would go out there because our other friend, her grandparents had a house right on the lake.
Okay.
We used to go out there all the time. That's super, super fun.
Dude, people are super nice out there. Like people were talking to us from the shoreline, asking us how the water was.
Nice.
It was super chill. Oh, it was kind of nice and like small towny.
Oh yeah.
And then in local news, we are sad to see that the Bravehearts had a tough loss to the Nashville Silver Knights over the weekend, and they ended their season in second place. But congrats, boys.
Killing it.
Yeah. I'm stoked to see the FCBL still on and that they were able to get some games in.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good, man. I'm trying to think what else happened locally that I want to talk about. I don't know. I feel like I don't know what's happening anymore.
I feel you. I mean,
in the city.
After last week when we had Rob Bellotta on our advocacy, our accessibility buddy, I did a bunch of reading into just like local regulations and local, just learning the types of stuff that he has to face on a daily basis, or people with those type of impairments.
Yeah.
It's super challenging and it's kind of disheartening.
A little bit.
Check out that episode if you didn't listen to it yet. But like we said, this week we're talking music with iNFMS, local ties, and all types of random shit.
Yeah.
So enjoy.
Check it out.
What is cracking, people? This week on the show, we have iNFMS, music producer and connoisseur, and now friend of the show.
Of the green variety, sure. Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Just relaxing.
Hell yeah, that's all you can ask for on a Monday.
There you go.
So we were talking about how cool sunglasses make you before the podcast started, and we all agreed that if you want sunglasses, or if you want to instantly look cooler, put on sunglasses. Wow, I botched that.
I agree. When I turned 30, I went to California, and I spent the entire weekend in sunglasses. I didn't take them off for like 4 days, which was great. Yeah. Shower, sleep, went to the beach, like went out to clubs, like, which was great. When you're like suffering from like a 3-day long hangover, sunglasses all the time are great.
So my only regret with not having contacts is like, for me to have sunglasses, they have to be prescription, and they also cost a shit ton of money. Like,
shout out Warby Parker though. You can get like $100 shades at Warby Parker.
I know. Dude, that's what I got to do. I got to up my prescription. So I'm going to start with, like, I have to go to the eye doctor, get my prescription upped, and then order some sunglasses. Because even the sunglasses I have, the prescription in them is from not this prescription. It's my last prescription. So this is like the nerdiest intro to any podcast ever. Like, what's up?
I love it.
I could do you one
glasses.
I could do you one better. I got those stupid transition lenses thinking that would be cool and that I wouldn't have to wear sunglasses. But one, when they finally go, you look like you're part of the Beatles. But two, they don't work in the freaking car because the UV block doesn't work. So they would be useless to me.
That sucks. My old boss used to have those. So like she'd come in, she'd like work all day, and then she'd go out for like to have a cigarette or whatever on her break. She'd come back inside and her glasses would be like this weird shade of blue for like 40 minutes. It was hard to like take her seriously when she was yelling at me, to do my job.
You would think in 2020 that the technology for transition lenses would have evolved to the point of at least being useful in a car, or decreasing the time it takes for them to transition.
Or at least let's make those stupid flip top things cool again, like the glasses.
Yeah, fanny packs are cool again. So fanny packs are cool. I think the next thing that's going to be cool is going to be the strap.
True.
You know, the little sports strap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would make my life a lot easier.
So clearly we've set ourselves up with a lot of street cred here at the start of this episode.
That's all me.
Infamous, thank you again for joining us. For starters, man, there are tons of mixes and music up on the internet. Like, how did you get your start writing music and producing music, basically?
Well, so I think being the hyperactive child that I was, the only way for my mom to get a little bit of a break is to like set me in front of the TV or the radio. And she was never a big TV person. So it's all like, my earliest memories are always the radio. Like, I just remember being a sponge and absorbing everything that was available on the radio. And like, I remember staying up during like holidays, like Christmas, and I would listen to the countdown because they would have like top 25 Christmas songs. And there would be like, and I mean, it's the 90s. So like Everclear had a Christmas song. Like, it just was ridiculous. And so I just remember all of that. And so it just has always been such a pivotal thing in my life. It's just music. I'm constantly listening to music, or I'm trying to find new music, or making my own just seemed like the next evolution. And I wanted to like be in punk rock bands, and I wanted to play guitar and be cool in high school. So like I just was like, let me just rent a guitar from the local guitar shop and whatever. And I didn't have any interest in learning lessons. Like I didn't want to play guitar the way that other people played. Like for me, like when I learned about Jimi Hendrix, and Jimi Hendrix took a right-handed guitar, didn't even bother restringing it, just played it upside down and had to learn chords upside down. Like that, I was like, yes, why do you need to go get lessons when this guy could easily, like I could do it? Obviously not making the comparison that I'm as good as Jimi Hendrix, because clearly I'm better. But but that was sort of that was my thought process in that. And so I started playing guitar, and then I was in some bands in high school that were really bad, and then I wanted to learn how to play like the drums, and then I taught myself how to play the drums, and that became like bands in college, and then we went on tour. And then I ended up moving back to Massachusetts, and I just didn't have space for the drums anymore. And it was like a part of me had died, because like it was such a pivotal part of like all through college, and like it's just like, how do I learn to make music again? And then I started really getting into like the world of electronic music, and like I was like, okay, so if I don't have a physical drum kit, well, I can have like a digital one on my computer. So what is that? Well, then that's like teaching yourself how to redo everything you've already learned all over again, because the rules are completely different. You don't have to be good enough to play it in order to make it appear on the computer. And then it just like, once I started getting into that world, like there are so many different avenues, like I just fell in love with it. And then I remember in 2012, I heard a mixtape in Halloween from RL Grime. Shout out RL Grime. He's like a super good EDM producer and DJ. He's been doing it for decades. And I remember hearing it, and the first couple of songs I didn't really notice. And then like the third song, the transition between some unknown song and 50 Cent's Many Men, like with the horns, like bam, 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 bam. Like I just remember hearing that, and I was like, wow, I did not expect that to happen. How cool is it that he was able to take a song that I knew and then disguise the beginning of it so that he could throw it in, like it just, and I could just imagine, you know, the crowd going crazy because it's like a throwback banger song. Like people love those songs. And then that's what I wanted to do. So that's been my driving force since then, is just I wanted to give people that sort of surprise. Like, have I heard this before, or where do I recognize this? And this is a little different. So that's kind of the roundabout way of doing it, or answering that question. But yeah, it's been forever. I don't have a definitive date.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I was going through some of your stuff earlier, and the number one thing that I popped out to me was at the beginning of the Dawn Chronicles, you have the HBO, like, is that the HBO like noise?
Yeah, it's
Dude,
from.
It took me so long to figure out what that, like, it's such a like recognizable like like that like noise. I'm like, why do I fucking know that?
Yeah.
I started Googling like like popular sound entrances, like just trying to figure out what the hell it could be. I listened to it. I just kept rewinding that one part, and then finally it clicked. That was HBO. The whole time, am I even right? Am I wrong?
I thought I like things that start out a little interesting like that.
Yeah.
There's no real rhyme or reason for it. Like I think maybe because I was trying to go with like the Goodfellas kind of like introduction there, and then I thought, well, like what would that kind of sound like? So you know, and then once again harking back to, you know, what I said before, starting with that something that people have heard before and then going into something totally different, I think was the appeal behind that.
Yeah. Kind of subverting expectations. Like I love music that challenges you. And even like playing an instrument unconventionally, I find myself losing hours at a time watching YouTube videos of just weird guitar players. Like I can remember this one woman in like this weird African village where she's laying it on her lap and she's playing a 6-string acoustic guitar as if it was like a slap lap guitar. And the sounds that she's generating off this instrument are unlike anything I've heard before. And I've heard plenty of guitar music, and to not hear anything like this, it's just fascinating to me. Or even thinking back to like some of the old early blues guys, like Mississippi John Hurt, who took an instrument that he didn't really have any instructions on how to play and just kept at it until he developed the sound that he felt was his. Like I give credit to anybody that's willing to put that much time and dedication into their craft.
I've decided to now have post-mow beers.
Post what?
Mowing the lawn.
Post-mow. Yeah.
Mow beers. I was like, because it's like 900 degrees outside right now. Like fucking covered in sweat and very, 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 very gross. But I have like more shit to do later. So I'm like, I'll shower tonight. But yeah, I was like, I think it's a post-mow. I'm going to start the post-mow beer thing every Monday. It's been an absolute move.
You sweated your butt off, and you definitely deserve a
nice little night shift lager. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm in the middle of trying to move, and I have people calling me all the time. And
really?
I don't know if you guys know anybody that's trying to move right now in this whole pandemic thing. It's fucking crazy. Like, I feel like I'm applying for jobs that I have no qualifications for with the amount of people that are calling me back. Like, no one is getting back to me. Nobody has any. And the people that do are like Main Street in like South Worcester. Like just not an area you want to be ever, let alone like live. I went to go
trying to find an apartment.
Yeah, just trying to find an apartment. And so here's what I learned. So I went to go view an apartment and it ended up being in South Worcester on Main Street. And I saw a guy try to break into somebody else's car. The guy was in line at McDonald's, like waiting to walk in because they have the social distancing guidelines and whatever. So he was waiting to walk in, saw a guy he didn't know walk up and try to like jimmy his car, right? They got into an altercation. I was like, yo, I'm out. Like, there's no way I'm living here. This is so crazy. But what I ended up learning is that because of the pandemic, like landlords aren't able to evict people like they used to be able to. And so people are holding on to those presumably vacant apartments, and then people like me that need a place to live, I don't have one. And so like no one's calling me back. And so it feels like a sales call. Like every time somebody I don't recognize calls my phone, I'm like, yo, this could be it. This could be like the one that finally has the thing available. So I apologize for that.
Respect. No
Didn't
worries.
work out.
No worries, man.
I feel you on the frustrations though, because this morning my wife told me that her car got broken into. And I'm like, what do you mean a car got broken into? Well, somebody opened the door that she left unlocked. And
is it really breaking in if it's unlocked?
That's how I feel. I mean, it's still entering property that isn't their own.
So then maybe instead of breaking and entering, it would just be entering.
Yeah. They broke the seal on the door. That's about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway, we're talking about so I think that the common thread that I find in all of my musical inspirations are people that not necessarily overcome some adversity, but like wouldn't take no for an answer. So like I grew up in the punk rock and hardcore scene, and everything is DIY because nobody is rooting for you. You have no funding. It's hard to get places. So it's like you play in people's basements, garages, attics. I played in someone's loft in Brooklyn once. Like it just all the
best. Those are the best.
Just to get it done. Like just to be out there and doing it. And so like that's sort of the main driving factor behind all that.
Real though, I miss those weird improvised shows. Like back when I was in the band, we played some kid's backyard barbecue, and his parents were fucking awesome because we were loud, and there were 4 bands on the bill, and this was just like suburbia Connecticut neighborhood that we were playing music in.
Yeah,
like the stage was.
You guys ever get the cops called on you?
Oh, plenty of times.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was for my high school graduation. I played in my own backyard with a band, and I had the deputy law director of the city. He was friends with my parents, so he was there at the party when the police got called to shut it down, and they see essentially their boss, and they're like, well, this is awkward. We don't really know what to do. And he was like, I'm pretty sure they only have 2 songs left, and then they'll be done. And I was like, yo, shout out you. You're sweet.
That's awesome. Who got you into punk rock?
That would be my friend Jeff in high school. I think I was just like a short, nerdy, skinny kid in high school, and I was easily going to be picked on. And I think that he had the foresight to kind of see it, and he wanted to give me an outlet for that. And he was a really big positive influence. He got me into he taught me about Minor Threat and the whole straight edge era. And then that got me into, bands like the Bad Brains, and then the Cro-Mags, and NoFX and Rancid. My first concert ever was Rancid in Tiger Army. And
nice.
Yeah, it's this, I think he was a blessing for me, because he showed me so many cool things at such a pivotal age that have just trajected me into the direction that I'm in right now. And I think he's off, he does studio recordings for guitar and stuff. He's super talented and crazy. But yeah, I mean, it was him. I was 12.
That's so awesome. I don't think I didn't get into Rancid until I was probably 15, 16. I think because growing up, I loved I grew up with Blink and New Found Glory, more it's pop punk, but it's more approachable pop punk. And just seeing the Rancid logo made me think that they were going to be this hardcore, like super aggressive, not really my style of music. And I'll never forget the first time I heard Rancid, I was like, this is that band? Like, what the fuck? And they've become like a band that I put on.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is if you were to look at like Lars Fredriksson, like that dude looks like he is a serial killer. And
especially back then too. And it was he had like the Liberty spikes that were usually dyed, and like he's
got face tattoos. Like screw all this cloud 2018 rappers that have face tattoos. Like Lars Fredriksson, punks were the OGs with the face tattoos. Punks started fucking their lives up way before it was cool.
True. So you went from...
I learned about Rancid from the South Park album that they put out for, I think it was Chef Aid.
Yeah.
And I was in 7th grade, and some kid had it and let me listen to it, and that's where I first heard Rancid.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. That's
awesome.
Yeah,
they were on like some like Warped Tour mixtape thing that a friend made for me, and I was like, I know this song. And then I still at the time didn't know who Rancid was until I dug a little deeper, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is what this band sounds like?
So that's interesting. That's an interesting question, the way to look at it. Mixtapes, because that's essentially what you're doing, Infamous.
Yeah.
You kind of adhere to the same rules of like, I'm thinking of like high fidelity, where like the perfect mixtape starts on a high, but you can't go too high on a second song. Usually low. And
it's all about vibes for me. So when I first started getting into it, obviously with anything new, you don't really know anything. So there's no real, you start looking for like rules or like how to do this, like patterns. You know, we live in a technology age, so I'm sure like if someone like how to start a podcast, there'd be like 50,000 websites that are going to show up how to do it. But I wanted to learn like what it was about that transition that I really enjoyed. And it wasn't that they were the same BPM, because playing the drums, like like beats per minute is beats per minute. So like that doesn't matter to me. What I learned was there's this thing called like key. And so you're mixing in a specific sonic key. So if you have a song like let's just say is written in the key of C, that there's a corresponding like accent key that works with that. That's not always C. It could be like E, for instance, or A. And so sometimes that contrast is what makes that transition interesting, because you get what's called phase cancellation. So you get the waves of one particular sound mixing with the waves of another particular sound. And wherever they overlap, silence plays. So you only have like those little tiny pockets. So it sounds like a mixture of two things. So I'd always like to start off with something that grabs your attention for the first track. I learned that from actually not High Fidelity, but Guitar Hero, that it should be first on the cassette, last on the set. I think when you're playing Guitar Hero, one of the loading screens says, make sure that your best song is first on the cassette, last on the set, so that you play it as your encore, but it's the first song on the album. So I was like, that kind of makes sense in my own sort of strange way. So I always like to prioritize the most catchy song, or the song that resonates with me the most, to be first. And then the last song, because I'd like to make it worth the listener, because mixes themselves are somewhere between 20, 30, 40 an hour, sometimes multiple hours. And it's a effort to listen to that entire thing. It's also, it's a labor to make it. So I want to make sure that the end is worth the 40 minutes that you just spent. So I prioritize those two. And I try not to make anything in between them overpower one or the other. Because if you have like the best song flat in the middle, there's no reason to listen to the rest. And then if you do listen to the rest, you're kind of disappointed, because the best song is, it's all subjective anyway. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But I like to prioritize making sure that everything's in compatible keys. And then I like just riding that vibe. Like sometimes it's up, 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 and then like a huge sharp down, which is kind of like a bummer. But some people really enjoy that. Like sometimes you want that ride up, and then it's too much at the end of the day. You just want to, drink a seltzer or relax, and you want to get more into that shoegazy kind of super slow BPM and relax. So yeah, that's usually how I do it.
That's interesting. You're almost making like a music sandwich.
Yeah, music sandwich. It'd have to be on sourdough though. There's no other bread. No.
I see. I think you're right though, that to make it worth the listen is important in this day and age. Now that we're releasing singles more than we're releasing albums, like I think the talent or the passion of orchestrating a whole album so that it plays cover to cover in such a strong fashion is kind of like a lost love. I mean, the last album that I could think of is the latest Archie Run the Jewels album, which is
incredible,
so wonderfully put together because L did it, and he's their producer, so he's already so fucking tied to the music. But like, I can't think of another album.
Isn't that crazy?
2 years that I want to go cover to cover on.
And people drop their touring schedules and everything to make albums.
Yeah.
That ultimately the end user or the listeners don't listen to because they're not either structured correctly, or some of the tracks are half-assed, or it's not like it just. I think the last one that I fully remember listening to cover to cover was the Gaslight Anthem. The Gaslight Anthem.
United Sound.
My band.
I mean, that's a great one, but it's the one that came out just before Get Hurt. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Handwritten?
Handwritten, yeah. Cover to cover, handwritten, over and over and over and over and over again, because I think it tells a story. Yeah. And I think that that's important because, like, this is, like, music is a form of art. And so the band themselves are trying to express a specific emotion or get a point across. And I think that they took so much time in crafting this album to tell you this story about this guy, because I don't know if you guys know much about that era or that band, but he had professed his love to his wife at the time, and then writing that album was like the breaking point, which ended up leading to Get Hurt, where they got divorced. So like, it just is such a, looking at it and like from a 20,000 foot perspective, it just has so much impact that they specifically chose those songs in that order to tell that story. And like, that's just so lost, I think, now in the records that so many people in so many different genres are making, that it just seems like we got to fill time.
Yeah.
And I don't like to waste time like that. I feel like everything should have a purpose.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. Like, I mean, I'm a massive music fan, but like you guys were saying, there's not many records in the last couple of years that I put on front to back with no skips. I think the only band that consistently does it is the Menzingers. I'm a huge Menzingers guy. Every record they've put out, I think, is better than the last one. I think every single song is better than the last one. And then the new Get Up Kids record, I listened to that.
Kids came out with a new record? I haven't heard the Get Up Kids in probably 15 years.
Oh, really? Yeah, they came out with a new record. Was it last year? I think it was either last year or the year before. I forget. I think it was early last year. And then they put out like an EP like the year before that. And that was fucking great too.
Yeah. So check out this lineup. So I remember I saw. Okay, so here's the opener. Fucking God, what's their name? I was just talking about them. Holy crap, dude! Don't smoke weed, kids. Get Hurt. They did the
Gaslight Anthem?
Gaslight Anthem. Okay, so I saw the Gaslight Anthem open. Holy crap, dude.
Wait, before you even tell us the lineup, was this show at the Palladium in 2007?
No, this was like way before that. This was like 2003, and I think it was in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I have a story after you do this.
Yeah, so the Gaslight Anthem opened. Then it was the Get Up Kids. Then it was some other band, I forget. Then Thrice. And then Dashboard Confessional.
Well, that's not a bad lineup.
And that was the last that I heard of the Get Up Kids. Crazy.
So the tour I thought you were about to say, there was a tour in 2007 that was, it was the first time I ever heard of Gaslight Anthem. But it was Gaslight Anthem, Thrice, Alkaline Trio, and Rise Against at the Palladium. And like, I don't like Rise Against, but I love Alkaline Trio, and I liked the Get Up Kids, or I liked Gaslight Anthem. And I went to that show and just like completely fell in love with Gaslight Anthem. Alkaline Trio was fucking amazing, and Rise Against was awesome. I mean, that band.
Do you not? Great. Do you really not still? You still don't like Rise Against?
No, I don't. Band just doesn't do it. They have some songs that are awesome, but I don't like. Like, I don't put that.
I think we're breaking up because Rise Against is one of those bands. Oh, Tim McElraith, man, I heart him to death.
So somebody I'm friends with once said that new Rise Against sounds like they wrote choruses where the verses should be and verses where the chorus should be, and I can't unhear that because the verses are so much catchier than the chorus. Rise Against.
Say that I've fallen off the Rise Against. But some of those
the early records are crazy good. The early records are super good. There's that one that it was like on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, I think, like Iron an Angel.
Yeah,
dude.
Oh, that's off of like Breathing. But
yes, or 33 and a half RPMs. Yeah, that one.
Siren Songs of the Counterculture is one of my cover-to-cover albums.
That's a good one too. I had that in my Mitsubishi 3000 GT. I had six CDs and a broken CD changer, so I could only listen to those 6, and that was one of them.
What were the other 5? I have to fucking know.
One of them was Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. One of them was Worcester band, Guns Up. There's a Worcester hardcore band called Guns Up, so I had one of their records on there. I had one of the old AFI records.
Love that band. I used to.
And then I don't know what else. Yeah, you know what's weird is that all the bands that like I grew up with now are like, it's a hot take, but they are not so good. Not so good anymore, boys. They it's time to retire from the punk rock scene, I think.
I don't know. So like that's an interesting. I think a lot about music, right? And I think a lot about that first album, and that's always the album I fall in love with. And a lot of times the band has had all the time in the world to craft that first album before you even get there. Then the second album drops and it's a little less cool. And the third album drops and usually it's a little less cool depending on the band.
I always fall in love with a third record.
I find that,
not always, but
I would disagree. It seems like once they get into the business, then they're in the business of releasing music, and then they're not crafting music the way they were on that first one. They need to get it out, or they're doing it to appeal. Or even look at Rise Against, who I'm not going to say they sold out, but they have definitely been on a drive to get more radio-friendly music.
Yeah,
because that's how we're consuming music, which actually goes back to that other point, is a lot of times people are consuming music through Spotify or through Pandora, where you're only getting a track from an artist at a time.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to look at this from like a future perspective because of how, like, I remember you had to buy CDs, you wanted to buy records, you wanted to buy because there were songs that you couldn't hear, or like back when B-sides, like the B-side of the record meant something. When like you knew if you went to go see them, they weren't going to play these songs. But you fall in love with these songs, and then every once in a while you get like a MTV unplugged version of it or something crazy. So like, you know what band I think has the worst story about getting comfortable and recording music is Green Day. So Green Day was my favorite band growing up. Like I saw the Pop Disaster tour, and then I saw the 10-year reunion of the Pop Disaster tour. So I'm with you on the pop punk thing. So Green Day was my favorite. Dookie, obviously, I think anybody that listens to punk ever, like Dookie, has to be on top 100 records. So this was around the time that they were writing, around the time American Idiot came out, and they were writing an album that was just like Dookie. And I was so excited to hear it. And then someone broke into their studio and stole the masters.
Yep.
So they were stuck with 2 options: to rewrite and re-record what they had already done, or start new. And they chose to start new, and that became the rock opera known as American Idiot, and that trajected them into the less than stellar route that they're in right now. And I think about that because I think that we could have had a second Dookie, and how, as a fan, it put a poor taste in my mouth that I've never been able to listen to Green Day since. So I don't know how much of that was pressure from the label to get another album out, or whether that was their like passion project and then it did well, so then they wanted to continue to do it. It didn't sit well with me, knowing that it could have, like, what could have been is just so much better than what we got.
See, my favorite Green Day record ever is Warning, because it doesn't sound like a Green Day record. It sounds like Green Day as adults, and I love that aspect. But I really do like American Idiot, but the records after that, I'm not. There's a couple good songs on each one, but I wasn't like super into a record after that.
Yeah, just
I wish they did American Idiot, but then I wish that they did a more like Dookie style record instead of trying to recreate the American Idiot style.
It's just kind of not like, so I mean, it has good songs on it. That's what's unfortunate, is that when I talk, like, I kind of have the nickname as the tape god because I make a lot of mixtapes, and I prefer to listen to things in long format. So I like to listen to like long selections of songs and tapes and albums and things like that. So when I am critical of albums, like when I'm critical of bands, it's usually because of album choices. American Idiot, Jesus of Suburbia is a great song. It's awesome. Well crafted. It gets stuck in your head. The change ups are crazy. Like, everything's insane. And they have a lot of songs like that on that album. It just wasn't the genre for me. And then they continued to go in that direction. And then it felt like they were like, well, all of the old fans that fell in love with this style, like, you don't matter anymore because now we're making more money doing this and selling like little bobbleheads of ourselves. And it just, they sold out. Like, it sounds like a cop out to say, but they sold out, and it bummed me out.
See, I go back and forth on that too, man, because like my first concert ever was Kiss, and there is no band.
Fire, bro. Fire.
There's no band that merchandises like Kiss.
I hate Kiss.
Oh, but okay, so say what you will about Gene Simmons, because he's a dick, but in terms of marketing a band and getting like
genius.
Oh, there's nobody like them, because when people buy into the Kiss army, they quite literally buy in. I can't really fault Green Day for wanting to set themselves up and challenge themselves something new. I can't go along as a fan, but I like the whole idea of selling out. Even back in my hardcore days when I was this fucking bitter, drug-free asshole that just mad at everything, I remember getting a great perspective about what selling out is. Or even like SLC Punk, where it's not selling out, it's buying in. Like, at what
That's
point,
a great movie.
Yeah, fuck yeah. But I mean, at what point do we fault Fall Out Boy for knowing that they wrote music to make money, even though they started in a hardcore band with Tim and Rise Against?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, especially because their drummer used to play for like a super vigilant vegan hardcore band. What were they called? Like Race Trader? Like, they were gnarly.
He's insane. Andy's insane.
Yeah.
But that's exactly it. So it's like, to understand that they were making music that was going to sell tickets, sell albums, and make money, like, they want to be a professional musician.
Yeah. Like, I get, like, it's hard because I don't know how I would have reacted in that situation. Like, to have like all of your work, like so my hard drive crashed in May, I think. And
Tragic.
it had like my album that I'm working on right now. It had all of the mixes that I back up. Well, now I back up every month because I don't want this to happen again. But I used to back up 2 times a year, and I had just backed up in January. I wasn't scheduled to back up again until June. Then May happened, and so I had everything that I had made up until that point. So there was mixes that were going to come out. There were unreleased tracks that my friends had sent me. There were tracks I was working on, collaborations I was working on, artwork, and then the drive just failed, and I didn't have anything. And I was like, this is like the worst situation I've ever found myself in. Like, I was calling people and that used to like resurrect drives professionally, and they were telling me to like put it in the freezer. So I put it in the freezer overnight, and like all of these tricks. And the only thing that was left to do was either just purchase a new drive and start over, or send it off to get the drive physically remove or get the data physically removed from the drive, put on something else. And that's so expensive and takes so long. And it's not even 100% that I'm going to get everything off of that drive. So with that, like, I get it, because I started over. Like, I just said, none of this stuff matters anymore. Like, I'm just going to start over. So like, I get that. It just, yeah, it's like, I if you were to ask me the same thing probably tomorrow, I would be like, I don't know if I could fault them for it. It just, you know, because of how important they were to my life, I just feel like I feel slighted. Like, and it's just, and that's just me being a fan, that like, I wish that they would have done something else, but this is where we are. And, you know, they're making their money. Like,
makes sense.
I can't really care.
No. So what got you into like I mean, you're not a rapper, but like what kind of led you more towards like the hip hop sound?
Like, I think hip hop beats are fun to play when you're a drummer. Like, it's just kind of fun to get in that pocket and sort of groove out. And like, hip hop was as influential to me as, you know, any punk rock or hardcore record, or even like classic rock. Like, I love Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. Like, I love Jimi Hendrix, and, you know, I have all of these old vinyls that, you know, I've collected over the years. And so hip hop was just another one of those genres that like really kind of influenced me. And I just wanted to hear more of the sounds that I liked. And you can't really ask people to make that. So then I'll do it. And then it started out as just me practicing. And then I showed it to a couple of friends, and I don't know if they were gassing me up or not, but they really liked it. And so then instead of going just to them, it started to be uploading like publicly. And then the more that you practice something, the better that you get at it. And then it just started kind of growing and growing from there. And then as I started to do it more, I started to learn more and more about like the beat production subculture, and how, where hip hop is going, and sampling, and, you know, all of these things. And it just like, I felt like it was cool to give back to something that had given to me for so long.
Yeah. That's dope.
Are you working with any like MCs or anybody?
I've tried, but I think because I'm so bad at social media that my network a little small. But I'm open to it. Like, I have several friends that MC that I've been trying to give it. It's scheduling, really. And you would think that with the pandemic going on, everyone has a massive amount of free time now. But everyone's scheduled to do stuff during their free time. So people, I think, have less time than they did before. But, you know, I mean, it's interesting because what I'm learning now is making beats for people to appear on. You have to leave a lot of emptiness, because the vocal register fills up so much of that sonic spectrum. And then if they do any ad libs or counter melodies, if they have another person, if there's a hook, there's all of these things that you can't put 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah.
But if I make music because I like it, and I don't want to hear songs that seem empty. So I don't really promote songs like that. I tend to use, you know, acapellas or things like that, or fill it up with something to go in there. But yeah, I'm definitely interested. I have people that I'm talking to. It just hasn't come to fruition yet.
Yeah. Who does like?
Sorry, Ricky, but I imagine like any band, you got to find the right person that just compliments you too.
Yeah, it's weird because some people know how to make beats out of anything. I'm not one of those people. I have a theme or like a direction in mind, but only after like I pick the sample or the melody. Like my brain fires too fast to like limit all of that information to be like, okay, this is I just like to freely create, and then whatever happens kind of happens. So I would need somebody that either is proficient at spitting on a variety of different sounds, or I would need to ahead of time construct something specifically for that person, which is what I'm doing now, is that I'm making these like 10 to 15 like beat packs and sending them to the artists and be like, hey, do you like any of these or whatever? Let's get to working on stuff. And then we're kind of going to go from there.
Who do you do your own artwork, or do you have like an artist that you work with, or do you work with a bunch of different artists?
A little bit of both. So some of the projects I've made, like I did the Dawn Chronicles, I did that artwork. Fright Night 2, I did the artwork for. So majority of the tapes I did the artwork for. But I have my friend Justillionaire. He's actually in England right now. That's where he lives. But I sent him an idea, and then he can do it while I'm doing all this other like I'm getting really good at micromanaging. So like I come up with the idea and I trust his skill set and his little artistic flair and say, hey, this is my idea. This is what I'm thinking. And then he just runs with it. And then I upload it and then I give him the credit for it.
One suggestion would be to call that delegating, not my.
Delegating. Perfect. Yeah. Let's see. Delegating.
Yeah, you're good. I mean, that's the way. This way, real shit gets done. Is leave people.
I trust the professionals or the people that are better at this specific thing than I am. Like I know where my strengths are, and I try to play into them. And so if something needs done and I don't have the time to do it, then I delegate to somebody that I trust to get it done. And lately it's been Justillionaire because he's awesome.
It's dope.
So like, are you hearing tracks? Like, are you just constantly sampling tracks? Like, how do you craft your mixtapes? Like, do you have a list of things that like, I know I want to use this somewhere kind of deal?
So when it started, I kind of just was listening and trying to pull anything that kind of sounded good. And then the more and more that I did, I don't know if it like I wanted to keep challenging myself or what, but then I started limiting. So I said, okay, instead of, because I used to have like EDM artists and then I would throw in like a J-Lo song, just to that same thing that RL Grime did with that 50 Cent song, like just to come out of nowhere, like, what, this song? And like it just, that feeling it gives me is so awesome. So I tried to do that, and then I wanted to do like one specific genre. So it's like only gonna be like, I think the first one I tried to do was like only gonna be female pop from like the late 80s, early 90s. And so anything that fit in that category was fair game, which still is very large. And then I was like, okay, so now I'm only gonna do hip hop. And now I'm only gonna do hip hop that was produced by people I know. And now I'm gonna do hip hop that's only produced by me. And then it kind of went further and further and further from there. I think my most recent set of mixes, or the series, which I call the This Is series, I use tracks only from the people that the mix is about. So it's my way of sort of saying thank you to all of them, because I individually choose them. I reach out to them. I tell them what I'm doing, that I want to make a mix for them using only their songs. And then I write like a little bit of a blurb about why I chose them or why I think that they're important and more people should listen to them. And then I construct a mix and make it as interesting as I can with only tracks that they've produced. So that's been my sort of go-to how I've been doing it lately.
See, I'm fascinating where dudes like you get your inspiration. Did Ricky freeze?
Yeah.
Or we might have lost Ricky. All right. Well, he looks so angelic.
Oh, there he goes.
I'm back.
Let's go.
The iPad that I was using got too hot because it's 7 million degrees outside.
Let's go.
My house still doesn't have furniture in it, so it's like super echoey. It has like very little furniture, I should say. So I'm stuck recording outside.
It was frozen with you with this like angelic halo. It was beautiful.
Yeah, you're just like, oh.
Really? All of a sudden, it just like went black, and it was like, emergency, iPad needs to cool down. And I was like, fuck. Okay, we switched over to the phone. We're good.
All good. So, fuck, I was talking about constructing
inspiration.
Yeah, I don't remember where I was going with it. But anyway.
Yeah. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah, stoners, right? Fuck, man. Whatever. Yeah, I'm constantly fascinated. Like, I remember. So, I love listening to like how dudes come up with their like the beats they make, and like watching a show like Rhythm Roulette on
Oh my
YouTube.
God, amazing.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Ricky, are you familiar?
No.
They take a producer, blindfold them, take them to a record shop. The producer picks out three random albums, and they're forced to make a beat out of it. And you get to watch the entire process of them making and like distilling this shit down.
Yeah, searching for sample, and like they have no idea what they picked. So like it could be, you could get lucky, you could get Diana Ross, or you could get, you know, the Isley Brothers, or you could get like Polka, or I think one guy had like the soundtrack to like some Bavarian cartoon. Like it just, you could get, and then they have to make something, and you're being recorded, and it's on the internet. It's so stressful, but I love it. It's such a great thing. I think we lost Travis.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
just
okay.
getting messages from.
Like, wow, we are just full of
Wow.
technical difficulties today.
Nah, yeah, shit's going crazy on a Monday.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, typical, right? So, do you have anything like coming up that you're super excited about? Anything that's going to be releasing in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so I like to keep my plate pretty full. And so I have I think it's volume 12. So it's the 12th one that I've done that should be coming out soon. I have the follow-up to the Dawn Chronicles. So the Dawn Chronicles was my solo. It was actually my third tape that I've done with my music, but it's the first one of like just only solo tracks. And so this will be the follow-up to that, ironically called the Dawn Chronicles Volume 2. And then I'm working on two community tapes. So one is coming out in Halloween. It's going to be kind of spooky themed. And then there's one that is taking a little bit longer, but it's, in my opinion, it's far more important, that I'm doing a community tape for the Black Lives Matters protesters. And all the proceeds towards that go towards the bail bonds for the protesters and media personnel across the nation. I don't make a lot of money doing this. I don't make any money off of tapes, but they go to promoters that have big YouTube channels. And because of the length of them, they can advertise them. So all that ad revenue will go towards these proceeds. And then there'll be like a link in the description for people to donate to it as well. And that's just, it's trying to get a lot, because it's so important. There's so many great people that want to be involved in it, that it's just getting all of those people's schedules to line up and getting the tracks in and getting, but hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully soon. But that's not a project that I mind waiting for. Like I prefer to take my time on that one. That one seems really important.
Yeah, respect. And then just to kind of like put a button on this thing, so we're around 45 minutes or so. Where can people find you? Where can people find music? How do people find your stuff?
So I'm a firm believer in making things as difficult as possible for people to get in touch with me. And I also I grew up in the era where you used to have to fill out like a form in the back of a magazine to get cassette tapes if you wanted to hear something. So Spotify didn't exist, iTunes didn't exist, none of that exists. So for right now, you can find me on SoundCloud, which is like my version of those little tapes, at /IamInFMS, iNFMS. And then across all socials, official_infamous iNFMS. It would be original. It would just be infamous, but there apparently is like a Brazilian or Polish motorcycle gang that goes by Infamous, spelled the exact same way. I had no idea. I tried reaching out to them, see if I could make the music for their videos, but I didn't hear back.
Dude, I knew Infamous from an old skate video.
Really?
Yeah, it was an old, I want to say it was like a Boston-based skate video that came out around
So fire.
But yeah, kind of similar to your logo too, if I'm thinking about it.
Crazy.
Oh, we lost Ricky again, so it's all good.
Wow, it's too hot.
He's too hot for TV. Well, this has been kind of an interesting interview, bouncing around a bunch, but I do appreciate you coming on. And
yeah, thanks for having me.
I can't wait to hear more music from you, man.
I'm super stoked. And shout out Polar.
Yeah.
Let's get those sponsorships.
All right. That's what we need.
Come crack some physical water on it.
I do have one question.
Please.
What's up?
What flavor do you guys prefer? One at a time.
All right. So I'm going to go first on this one. Year round, I'm cranberry lime all day.
All right.
In the summer, they just dropped that new like coconut limeade, and I really like that one.
I haven't gotten my hands on it yet.
So currently, that's my favorite. Yeah, if it's not those two, I mean, I'll drink anything, but like if it's not those two, I always just go classic. I like the one that has no flavor too. Like that's my jam.
Oh, just like the tonic water.
Yeah, it's just like regular, like classic bubbly water.
Ricky's OG like that.
It's true.
I gotta have like a hint of lemon.
Okay, that's the one that I have right here.
Let's go.
I'm a big Starfruit guy right now. That's
Starfruit.
Yeah, the Starfruit lemonade one. That's a good one.
I like the blueberry lemonade or the raspberry lemonade. You guys ever mess with the dries? They make an orange dry.
Oh yeah, orange dry.
That's like candy. That's
the way orange juice wants to taste.
Yeah, so good. And I just read an article that I think starting next year, Polar is going to be available nationwide.
Yep, through Dr. Pepper.
So people out in California can experience what we've been experiencing for like 100 and some odd years.
They could finally drop over crap.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Infamous.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys.
Oh yeah, thanks, buddy.
See ya.
Awesome. Well, that was cool. Thanks, Infamous, for joining us. And thanks for talking music. Ricky and I will always talk music, as the listeners of this show know.
Always. Yeah, it was cool to talk about, not only like the music that he puts together, but, kind of deep diving into like his punk rock roots and talking a little bit of like Gaslight Anthem and Rancid and just kind of like, bands that I didn't expect to be talking about today.
I love seeing other music fans that are just as eclectic as we are, because music serves purpose and music fits moods. And there's so many different types and genres and people creating music that to just segment any of them out would be foolish in our eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Except for country.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I have some country stuff that I really enjoy, but sorry, I dropped my pen. But yeah, I'm not as into it as I used to be.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I believe it's that time to stoke and poke.
Do it.
A good song.
When you hit them with those stoves, ow! Gotta slap them with those pokes. Oh, yeah. Stokes and pokes.
All right. I'm going to start by poking. Oh, so one thing we forgot to bring up at the beginning of the thing that happened in the past week is we hung out with our friends over at Maspin last week. And we did a night of talking about voting and doing all this stuff on Zoom, which went to Facebook Live. And that's what I'm poking, because that night is the same night that I got the new Facebook layout, which is why I was so confused at the beginning of that thing, because Facebook changed the entire layout. So not only was I never using Facebook Live before, but now I'm looking at the layout new and it's awful. I hate it.
Yeah.
You seen it?
No. Well, I don't know. I guess so. Mine, it just went to like dark mode, which was awesome. I have everything else in dark mode. That was the only thing I couldn't figure out. And then one day it was there, and yeah, I guess it is a different, I don't spend a lot of like time or energy with Facebook. It's really not a place I enjoy to be anymore. So I kind of just like pop on, post what I got to post, and I get off. But yeah.
So typically it's same, but it's when I'm trying to get on, post what I'm trying to post, where it's now in a different location. And then I saw a meme where it was like, brace for it, millennium kids, because your parents are going to be asking you about Facebook soon. And like, you have to give lessons on how to find the new stuff.
There it is.
I mean, I'm all for making the user experience better, but it feels like all these brands just kind of reskin their stuff every couple of years just to make themselves feel more relevant.
Yeah, happens.
Yeah. When I am stoked, stoked, because I brought it up on this show before. And then I made a sign for Ricky for our sign for our Instagram thing, just shits and giggles. And I put it out there this morning. And do you know what I found, guys? thanks to a friend that I went to college with, we now have this.
You'll find adventure. Adventure is in our nature. Talk to the animals and you'll see just what.
I'm letting the whole thing play. I don't care.
You'll be surprised just what they know. Ask any llama or deer. Buffaloes are in the know. They shout it loud and clear. You'll find adventure at Catskill Game Park. Adventure is in our nature. Hey, do you like to take pictures?
No. So that was incredible. I've been looking for that stupid fucking recording for years, like at least 4 years. And to just randomly put it out on Facebook of all places. And then to have this girl, Sarah, that I went to school with, reply in 3 minutes with a link. I was embarrassed. I was impressed. And I've just been ecstatic all day. So I've listened to that easily at this point 25, 30 times. And I sent it to so many people. I swear to God, it's like, you know that feeling when you eat popcorn, you get a kernel stuck in your teeth and you're just sitting there like tacking it? That's been stuck in my teeth for years, and I just removed it today. And it was like that same...
I remember you bringing it up, like maybe like it must have been last year, or I feel like it was later than like earlier this year. It's been a little while, but I do remember you bringing that up, and I had no clue what you were talking about. Like I didn't grow up in that area. It's not even a thing I've ever heard of. And then I remember like you asking, you were like trying to find the thing. So then like I'm trying to Google it and I'm not even really sure what I was looking for, but like it is in my like search history. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, cool. I clearly tried to find this. And then what was it, like last week or whatever? I like text you a couple ideas I had for signs and you sent them over to me. And there was that one in there. And I was like, is that place that like we talked about like a year ago? And when you ever said, yeah, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. And then this morning, I was going through the signs. I was like, which one feels right? And it was that one. And it has a pretty good response. There's like people tagging each other in it and stuff now.
I love it. And the video that they found was from July of this year. So it seems like it took the pandemic for somebody to go through their old VHS tapes to find this thing. I've thanked the guy that uploaded it. I've been stupidly happy because of it all day. And I'll never go to that fucking park. The park sucked, but their jingle was fire.
Yeah. That's so awesome.
It's like scratching an itch I've had for 10 years. So
really,
that's what I got. What do you got for us, homie?
Cool. All right. So my poke is Instagram is going to start. I think they actually started today. I haven't really checked, but I heard this rumor that Instagram is going to start showing other people's posts in your feed, kind of like TikTok has the For You page. So and like Instagram already has that in the
Explore.
Yeah. But I guess they're going to start like putting ones that they think you should see in your feed. I hate that idea. It's not conducive to like what people use Instagram for. So I'm super annoyed by it. It's kind of just giving me more reason to like use that platform a little bit less. Even though it's like the platform that I understand the best, it's the platform that I personally have had the most success on. But it's also a platform that I just each day kind of like, it's getting closer and closer to like that Facebook world for me where I'm like, I don't really need this in my life anymore. So that's a big old poke for me. I don't need to see, like I go through and like clean out like who I'm following and stuff all the time. I don't need to see like other people's stuff. That's annoying. So shout out to TikTok for doing it though. Like TikTok, it makes perfect sense because it's 15 seconds. Like, and I don't know anybody on there really, you know, it's like you watch it for entertainment value. I don't know. It's just, yeah, I'm not into it.
I'm feeling it. I mean, just like tying your business to any of these social media platforms is a risk in and of itself, because the second they change the rules, your whole business can change, whether that's YouTube, whether that's TikTok, or whether it's Instagram.
Yeah, no, I feel you. So just keeping me on my toes, you know? Shout out Twitter for being dope as always. But my stoke is this past weekend, Dead Horse Hill did a menu revolving around sandwiches. Every single sandwich looked amazing. I ended up getting the double smash burger, which I'm not even kidding you. I think it was the best burger I've ever had that was not made by John DeMoga. It was unbelievably good. Like, the only like complaint I have is I got it takeout. Obviously, I was working. Jess went up to pick them up. So it was like the oil and the sauce that they put on it kind of made the bun like super soggy on the bottom, and it didn't hold together very well. Didn't matter. I just like fought through it and like crushed it. It was so good. The fries were it was fantastic. Jess had the fried eggplant or whatever sandwich, and that was incredible looking. She loved it. And then Marcus was texting me. He got the muffaletta and said it was phenomenal. So I was like super stoked. I love when they change their menu up and they do their lunch menu. I don't know if you ever had lunch at Dead Horse. Back when they first opened, they had like a full cafe menu, and then they had a lunch menu. They've cut both of those and it went down to just dinner and brunch. But their lunch was like the best lunch program in the city. It was unbelievable. Everything was so good. It was just, mostly revolved around sandwiches, but they were like, everything was amazing. The idea of them doing that more has me like really, really excited and just really pumped for the weekends now. And it looks like they're going to be doing a different menu of sandwiches this weekend. So I am pretty pumped about that.
It looks like they're going after a pretty well-respected sandwich in the city. I saw some meaty balls in a photo.
I did see some meaty balls. I'm excited for this only because like nobody's out. You can't do the Vincent's meatball sandwich. Like it's its own animal. You're never going to be able to like do it with the same like, swag as Vincent's does it. DeMoga did a meatball sandwich towards the end of the dive that looked like a burger. It was like one giant meatball patty.
Okay.
And it was unbelievably good. But like, even he was like, dude, it's not supposed to be like the Vincent's one. Like this is its own animal. And it very much so was. It was the best meatball sandwich I've ever had in my life, but it wasn't Vincent's. So yeah, I don't know. Trying to compare the two, I think, is not fair to either one. But yeah, I just really want a meatball sandwich right now.
I would assume that one is going to cost probably twice as much as the other.
Oh, but, yeah.
I mean, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to see that they're expanding. I'm stoked to see that they're trying new stuff in this time of everybody's trying to figure out ways to stay viable. I love seeing creativity. Yeah,
it's something that I had like been craving Dead Horse to do, and they just weren't doing it, and now they're doing it, and they're doing it very, very well. I'm very excited. It's all good. It just has me more excited to buy food. I love getting food.
Respect to that.
Oh yeah.
All right, people. Well, I think you've done it. I think you killed another hour listening to us ramble and talk music, and we truly appreciate you as always.
It's true.
It's super true. Thanks for sticking along with us. Thanks for all the support. And find us on the interwebs at seltzertime.com. Find me specifically at Hunchback Travis.
You can find me at DickChuck77 or Seltzer Time Official. Out here cracking cans, bruh.
Yeah, cracking cans, causing misery.
Just partying, middle of the day, drinking a seltzer, partying, mowing the lawn. Shout out Post Lawn Beers. Might start that Instagram someday when I have time.
Hell yeah.
It's just another Instagram of me opening cans. These ones are just all beer. Where I post once a week.
You'd probably get followers.
I'll try to figure it out.
And hopefully next week Ricky will have a mohawk.
I mean, okay, so I don't know if I'll have the mohawk next week. I am very much so considering this, but to be fully honest with you, there's a really good chance I'm just going to shave my fucking beard off tonight because I'm really sick of it right now, and haven't had time to like trim it and like make it look normal, and I kind of just want to like start fresh. I don't know if I'm blaming my beard for my technical difficulty day, but it might be the
beard's fault.
Might be the casualty.
All right, so maybe not Mohawk Ricky, but Babyface Ricky will join us next week. You guys will just have to come
maybe
back.
both.
Yeah.
Maybe both. Like,
Imagine.
Right? Yeah.
We'll see you then, peoples.
Bye, guys. Cheers.